Alô pessoal, o meu nome é Pedro Barbosa. Eu estou aqui para vos cozinhar um caril de camarão moçambicana e um frango da Zambésia moçambicana. Hello everyone, so what I basically just said, my name is Pedro Barbosa and I'm here to show you how to cook a prawn curry Mozambican style and a Mozambican Zambian style chicken. So for the prawn curry we're going to need some onions, here we go. We're going to need some garlic, fresh garlic is better, but we can also use, I've got here some crushed garlic. Then we've got some tomatoes and we got some malagueta chilies. That's basically what we need, as well as the prawns and the coconut milk, sorry. So first we got to cut these onions, and with my amazing chef skills, and you cut them in small pieces as much as possible, as small as possible. And the reason for that is you want to create like a paste with the onions and the tomatoes. And this is how I see, I'm not really a chef, right? We're just saying, my technique, it comes from a faraway part in Mozambique that no one really knows, close to Kuvuki land. But anyway. So we take the onions and we put them on the pot once we got them. And then after this, we do the tomatoes. Same process, try and cut it as small as possible. You put it onto the pot. Interesting thing about Mozambican food is that most of the real traditional food in Mozambique is actually based, it's more like vegetarian vibes. So a lot of things with like plant-based stuff. And I think, I'm speaking under correction, but I think most of the things with meat comes from external influence. And obviously we are very based on seafood, fish and things like that. But one thing we noticed all over Africa is chicken is very popular in Africa. So in Mozambique we do eat a lot of chicken as well. Once we're done with the cutting, then we go and then we're going to put 30 grams of garlic. So we take the crushed garlic, measure about 30 grams. Put it in there, and once this is done, then we take this to the boil and we must get it into like a paste kind of thing. Once it's in that paste, then we're going to add the coconut milk, and after that we add the prawns, and then it's done. So we're going to take this one to the pot and boil it. Now for our Mozambican chicken. So like I said, this is the Mozambican from the north of Mozambique, from the Zambésia area, and it's Zambezi chicken. So it's done with also coconut milk. It uses some chilies, garlic. This time we're gonna have to use fresh garlic, lemons, and yeah, it's easy actually prep. The cool thing, interesting thing about Mozambican food is people think there's a lot of spices, but there's actually not a lot. It's very simple. The one thing we like to do in the kitchen, in the chicken, is once we spice the chicken, we leave it for at least 2 hours. And then you go and cook it. All right, so it gets to absorb all those sauces and all those things that you put on the chicken. Now, to start, we're gonna start with the garlic and just take the garlic out. Now, this technique, I don't know if it's used in Mozambique, but I saw one of these, big old time chefs, they take the garlic and they put it and they crunch it on the thing like this. And for the first time, I tried this on Sunday when I was prepping this thing. So So let's see if it works. Huh, I'm impressed. So you take a full, basically we're gonna cook 1 kilogram of chicken. And to make it easier and quicker, I just got thighs and legs instead of the full flatty. And basically, for 1 kilogram of chicken, we're going to use a medium-sized clove of garlic for the whole chicken. In regards to the peri-peri, if you want it hot, you just put more peri-peri. I'm going to have the guys from Jacaranda tasting it, and I'm not sure what their tolerance is. I'm the worst Mozambican when it comes to peri-peri. I don't really do peri-peri and hot stuff. So we take that and we put our garlic in it, and later on we come back to it because we're going to now go into our lemons, and we're going to cut the lemons, and we're going to use this little thingy. If you see me put my finger in it and trying to crush it, is in Mozambique we don't like, I think we were taught to save everything, so you don't waste anything. So all those juices must go in there. Another interesting thing is some people say take the pips of the lemon out, and some people say that it actually adds flavor. So in this case I'm going to keep the pips because you've got to take these things. It's like in the prawn curries, for example, they say keep the heads because the heads give a different flavor. So this is 15, 30. That should be enough. So we'll keep this one. Fantastic. So once we got that, then we're going to cut the peri-peris. As we said, we don't want to make it too hot. So being 1 kilogram chicken, I'm just going to cut 2 of these bad boys, and maybe to trick them I'll put a little bit more. No, I'm kidding. I'll put more, otherwise I can't even eat it. So cool. So we take these. We can put a little bit of paprika. So some people put paprika. One thing is, in Mozambique these days, we are a lot of the restaurants that are owned, that make chicken and stuff, are owned by Muslims, and they tend to put a bit more spices, and I find that the food to be a lot more attractive and a lot more tasty actually. So the normal recipe doesn't really put paprika, but I do add a little bit, so it just gives a little bit of color to the chicken, which I really enjoy. So just put a little bit up to taste. It's a bit, it's gonna go a bit reddish, of course. Then a little bit of pepper. And then some salt. So I use this little spoon because this gives me an idea of what 15 grams is all about. And you just crush everything together. Once you've proper squashed this thing in the mortar and whatever this other thing is, it should look something like this. So you see the peri-peri, slightly, pasty, juicy, and it smells absolutely wonderful. A bit hot. From that, we're going to the chicken, which we've got here. So I'm gonna grab a couple of pieces of All right, so you take the chicken. Another thing with the chicken is try and cut parts in the chicken and just like make holes through it. The reason for that is you want all that sauce to go into the chicken. And then we cut a bit. You can cut this extra pieces of fat out. And cut the chicken a little bit. So you kind of like give these little cuts and stuff onto the chicken. On the leg, the same thing. Fantastic. Then once that is done, then we take this and we put it onto a pot, and we're going to leave it, and then we're going to cook it afterward. So I'm going to put it straight into the pot where we're going to actually kind of cook this chicken. I'm going to put the chicken in it. And then I take this, because we don't like waste, and we just rub it in there. Then we take that sauce and we put it all over the chicken. And we spread it nicely in there. Now, as I said, we're going to leave this chicken to marinate for at least 2-3 hours. Some people even put it overnight. And it just stays there, absorbing all these sauces and juices. And then once it's ready, we go to the stove and we cook it slightly, just turn it, kind of boil on those juices, and we take the chicken out. Once we take the chicken out, then we're going to add the coconut milk. So let's do this, let it rest for a while, and we'll come back to cook it now. So welcome back, bem-vindo, as you say in Portuguese. So now we're going to take the curry and we're going to put it onto the flames and boil it a bit. So this is what the curry looks like at the moment. Looks like nothing. So we've got some tomatoes and onions in there and garlic. So now I'm going to put it in and I'm going to add a little bit of the curry powder. So I put it right here. And I get a bit of curry powder. So we're looking at about with the amount that we have there, we're looking at about 2 small spoons. I don't have a small spoon, but I know what this looks like. So I add a bit of curry powder in here. Looks like that. And we just add it onto it and we mix it. Now I generally do that, and then I add a little bit of oil onto the pot, just to, you know, fry that mix a bit. And then we wait for a while, and then we come back to look what it looks like. So after we leave it, so it's been cooking for about half an hour or so, then it's going to get into like a paste, and it's going to look something like this. I'm going to see it. So it looks like a bit of a pasty kind of, and that's what you want. Once it's like this, then you're ready to throw in. I throw in a little bit of paprika, again, just a tiny bit. And I'm gonna go in and throw in coconut cream. So I put 2 cans of coconut cream for the 800 grams of prawns. As this is heating up, we also add in our malaguetas, which are our piri-piris. Of course, you've got to give it a little taste. So one of the things is I just break the back of the piri-piri, take these things out. If you want it to make it hot, you can cut the piri-piri. If you don't want to make it too hot and just give it a little bit of bite, you throw it just like this. At some point, it will tear itself a bit, but it won't be so hot. If you wanted to make it hot, add 5 of these and it'll be a bit hotter. So I'll just throw those in there. And then we let it boil for a little while. Once it starts boiling, then we bring in the prawns and we put the prawns in. So give it about 4 minutes and it'll start boiling. So I've already got these prawns that are already, like, you know, cut and everything in. Generally they say if you use the prawns with the heads and everything else, it becomes tastier as well. The one thing is, a lot of people get worried about the head, so I'm not going to use the heads here. I'm going to put it in straight. Now, one thing we need to consider in consideration is generally we add into something like this about 200 mils of water, but we're not going to add water because these prawns already come frozen, so they have some water, so I don't add any water. I just put the prawns directly in there. Let me just make sure, yes, it is boiling. So then we add the prawns in. You saw that water coming out there, see? So we just add that in. Give it a nice little mix. And generally, we will leave this cooking for about 45 minutes and make sure that that water comes out. And yeah, and then you've done. So I'm gonna let it come to the boil again. Once it's boiling, and proper boiling, you'll see I'm gonna come and just lift a little bit, and yeah, let's check what it looks like. It's getting hot in here, so take off home. It's quite hot in this kitchen. I would like to say thank you to Railways for having us here, but yo, I'm so glad I don't do this for a living. So we're checking out how it's looking. So it has boiled, it's been boiling for a while now. Now I'm gonna open the lid and just make sure that drains all that water. I think they call it reduction or something in chef terms. So all that water comes out and becomes just a little bit thicker, and then the curry is ready to go. So let's check now what happens. Another about 25 minutes and we're ready. We're coming to check, and this looks good. It's almost done. I think I'll give it a minute or so and it'll be ready. Right, so here we are. And our curry is ready. So this is what it looks like. You check the texture. It's nice and creamy. And we got the prawns in there. And this is what a nice prawn curry should look like. Mozambican prawn curry. So the Mozambican frango de Zambésia right here. So it's in the pot and it's ready. As you can see, look at that. It's got a little bit of the sauce. So what we do now is we take this and we put it on the pot and we just slightly boil it, kind of thing, with the sauce. And then we take it out and we go into the grill and we grill the chicken. But before that, when we take the chicken out, we're gonna add the coconut cream into it. So I'm just gonna leave it for a little while in there, and then we're gonna cook it, and then the coconut cream is gonna come. So the chicken has been cooking there for a little while. We're just gonna go check if those sauces are cooking nicely. So here's a piece of chicken just like slightly brownish and stuff, as you can see. So we're gonna take this out of the boil and take the chicken out, and then we're gonna bring in the coconut sauce into it. And that coconut sauce we're gonna baste on the chicken. So for this sauce we take about 100 grams of coconut milk, and I've already checked it out here, and you take it and you just throw it in there and you cook it for a little while. Cook that sauce, and as it gets a little bit thicker, you basically stop the sauce. And once the sauce is ready, we take the chicken to the grill, and then we keep putting the chicken on this sauce to kind of absorb everything. Still a bit thick, but it's a bit thin, but it's getting thicker, which is what you want. This thing is ridiculously hot. I think the sauce is now ready. So there's got a bit more of consistency there. That's good. So we're going to take that sauce, leave that in there. Now we're going to go into the chicken. So we take this chicken. Everything now is about grilling the chicken. So as we're grilling the chicken, everything is about turning and making sure that it gets turned. Now what I do, some people take and they go and baste the chicken. I usually keep this close by. I bring that chicken and I roll it on that sauce and I bring it back up again. I take it, look at it, roll it again on the sauce and I put it back in there. See. And you keep cooking the chicken, turning, and every time you turn, you put it and you dip it on that coconut milk with the sauce, and you just keep going till the chicken is done. This should take, depending, I'd say about 10 minutes, 15 minutes maximum, with all the turning and everything else. And keep checking. It's getting nice, as you can see there. It's getting nice and that slightly burnt kind of feeling. I love it when it starts doing that. Give it a bit of a basting again, and we turn it to the other side. Let's give a basting to this one. Turn the other side. Let's get that one. That's good. I can smell that lemon. It's so great, man. So great. Okay. I'm gonna put this one a bit closer to me. In Mozambique, we actually, we cook on coals, and a lot of times they cook very close to the coal, and they just keep turning the chicken. What happens with that, what I hear, is that it keeps the juices inside the chicken, so the chicken doesn't dry out. And they just keep turning the whole time, and it's very quick, and it's a hot fire, which is not the way then generally that you cook in South Africa. So it's a lower fire. This is close, and they just keep turning the whole time. So our chicken looks done, nice and juicy. You see a little bit of that black burnt thing. Love it. So let's take it out. But this is what it looks like. So this is called frango de Zambésia, and it's our lovely chicken with coconuts, garlic, piri-piri, malagueta they call it, and lemon juice, and that's it. Let's try it. Let's enjoy it.